Center for Ocean Solutions, we're really interested in not just identifying the problems that are occurring in the ocean, but actually getting to solutions that would make the ocean better. And the pathway to that isn't just doing science, oceanography, and ecology, but it's also understanding what motivates human behavior and understanding how humans are linked to ocean ecosystems. And so the last semester we've been having a series of speakers that are coming in to talk to us about that coupling between humans and nature, and how we can use our understanding of that coupling to make better decisions about how to move forward with management.
Well, I think it's really important to study human dimensions of oceans because people are so entwined in marine ecosystems, and often we forget that. And thus we often forget that actually there's a lot of cultures that are really dependent on marine ecosystems. And sometimes vice versa, where marine ecosystems are also dependent on people.
I would say we're kind of in the midst of a revolution, actually, right now. If you look all over the world, there are different, I would call them property rights, but that's sort of a buzzword, but different forms of access rights, rights-based management in the developing and developed world. And we're starting to learn lessons from those. Some have worked, some have failed. They've been designed in different ways, and we can leverage those experiences to design better ones in the future.
I think one of the main things is going from learning from design to implementation and then back to design again. I think we're closing in the loop that was open for a long time, especially I think in marine systems. I'm not so sure about other systems, but in marine systems I think even the policy loop, because now you have at some level policymakers that are also more interested in interdisciplinary sort of implementation and how can that feed into the design again. So we're getting like a little bit of feedback and that's nice because you sort of, that gives you more energy to sort of push in that direction.
The stretch for most of us is that we're trained in a discipline like oceanography or ecology or anthropology, and what we need to be able to do is talk across those disciplines and understand each other, and to be able to work in communities where people think of the world in a wide variety of different ways.
I think for a long time we were stuck in either the panacea approach to marine governance or the context is everything. But I think now we have the data sets and we have somewhat standardized protocols and frameworks to collect data, to create diagnostic tools so we can actually move on to real, tangible policy solutions that are tailored towards local social and ecological conditions.
No, so I think, most of us are in the academic community, and our feeling is another study, and that will give people more information. They'll make a more rational decision that will be good for all people. But when you start looking on the ground, first of all, how do you motivate people?
People are mostly socially focused on issues, things like social disparity, who's benefiting, who's wealthy, who's poor. That they do naturally. You don't have to do much to do that. But what you have to do is kind of engage nature into the conversation and make people see nature not as an externality but part of their total system.
I actually think that there is a new generation of scientists emerging that don't necessarily identify with one discipline or another, and that focus on these problems that necessarily involve multiple disciplines.
We think the future for marine conservation is at this interdisciplinary interface. We need to have the disciplinary understanding, but if we don't work in that uncomfortable middle ground between disciplines, we simply won't solve the problems that we're facing in the oceans. And so it requires training a whole new generation of students to take on this challenge. And frankly, the students are ready for this. And so it's been very interesting in my own career to watch the students pushing me along to get comfortable in this interdisciplinary space. And so I'm hopeful about the future just because the students seem ready to go there.